Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to REDCast, the official podcast of the Regional Elite Draft League. I am your host, Regenix, and this week on the cast we will be reviewing all of the Week 1 action from the league. Joining me on the cast today, we have three other members of the community that fantastically perform various roles. So kicking off introductions, first up we have Yellow Division player promoted in the previous season, Mr. Specs King. How are you this evening?
I am pretty good. Excited to talk about week 1 and looking forward to getting roasted about random things in the next coming week.
It's
pretty much.
It's great to have you back on the cast. Looking forward to the insight that you bring after the fun we had last season.
There's no jock rivalry though.
You can find somebody else, I'm sure. Joining him in the cast, we have the Blue Division analyst stepping in for a previous comrade that is no longer with us. We have Psychedelic Scissor, Blue Division analyst. How are you this evening?
Pretty good. Ready to bring more of my flawless opinions to the channel here.
Great. Can't wait. And last but by no means least, we have a new player in the league, and I'm sure everybody will be excited to hear your voice and for the first time and hear your opinions. We have Mr. Zach T of the Blue Division. How are you?
Hello, slightly nervous, and I can't wait to be called trash by everyone in the comments.
Great.
So,
I'm
yeah.
sure it won't go like that.
Oh, I'm very sure it will.
Alright, so format's changed a little bit for REDCast this season based on the feedback we got last season. We're looking to hopefully shorten down the reviews that we're doing. We're no longer doing reviews for every single match in a division, just one or two to keep episodes more manageable. So, how about we just jump straight in? We'll start with the Blue Division, and our first match to review is the Toronto Tyranitars, coached by Blitz, versus the New Britain Rockruffs, coached by Diet Tight. A match that finished 5-0 overall to the Tyranitars this week. Notable things from me is that Bloom Doom Moltres, solid prep lore for the Toronto Tyranitars Manaphy, but after that I think we can all agree that everything just went downhill. Any other
I'll go.
comments to that?
I mean, this is basically what happens when you disrespect Megalodios in prep, and he just did not have any way to reliably damage it after it got Calm Minds up, and it just sat there the entire game and just destroyed his team. I mean, that's why it's such a high tier mon, because it is one of those mons that if you don't prep adequately for it, it will single-handedly beat an entire team, which we just saw it do.
Yeah, for sure. It was really, I don't know, this is like a pretty weak game to start on due to the fact that it was just so, it just ended up so one-sided.
Well, going into this game, I know how Blitz preps and plays. I've been in a couple leagues with him. He likes a lot of bulk up and setup sweepers.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew into this game that Latios, as soon as it was pretty much out, it was game, because from the matchup you could see that he didn't really have anything for it.
No, not at all.
He brought a pretty defensive archetype, which is fair in most games, but then when Megalatios can just set up like that, it becomes quite a big issue.
Yeah, without the counterplay to Megalatios, it's certainly a bigger risk to run that sort of
thing. I do like the lore with Moltres, though. That was really good. Yeah,
that's the one thing that I can really credit the Rockruffs for and Diet for, because, well, first, unfortunately I didn't get to see the rest of the team because it was too busy getting smashed
demolished
by Megalatios, but yeah. Any further thoughts on that? Because I think we covered everything there. If anybody has anything of note. If not,
pretty much. I think you hit the nail right on the head there.
Yeah.
Hopefully Diet Tight will bounce back in the coming weeks, and he won't let a poor 5-0 opener, unsettle it.
Hinder, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
But with all that said and done,
Game 2.
Game 2, the Ladner Lanturn, coached by Ian or Electricity, versus the Belgian Blastoise, coached by Axelraid. A game that I think unfairly finished 4-0 in favour of the Lanturns.
Okay, so I'd like to get my 2 cents in on this.
Yeah, sure.
So, when you go into a game and you see something setting up, you obviously want to swap out something that can touch it or get rid of the setup, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the main issue for the Lanturns that led to the hacks that happened to Axel was that he stayed in with the Miltank knowing that his only move was EQ, which just, even though that obviously should have been a 6-0 coming from what the game showed, it just, I don't know how to feel about it. Like,
Yeah. Mm.
Go ahead, Zach,
I mean,
if you got a point.
No. Anytime, like, you never ever play with threats. The Cribbledor's Bombi is remarkably strong. You never let something like that start setting up in your face. And like, he let Axel get up to +4. At that point, with Bloodburst, Moonblast, and Hidden Power, if you literally look at the team, it could blow up like the entire team.
Yeah.
With no comms at all.
And it was set up to
He's
do
taken
that.
far too long. Yeah.
And it was set up to do that without the without the paralysis. Yeah.
Without the T-Wave, he got swept then and there.
But even the paralysis was fine. It was the clutch.
It was the time when the paralysis happened. It happened against the perfect mon.
You know, Bishop was able to just get that Iron Head off, kill it.
Like, as soon as I pulled off that Thunder Wave, I would have went hard Salazzle straight away and then just pressured it out.
What baffles me more maybe is the fact that the Miltank Earthquakes turn 2 and lets essentially
that's
lets
what
him get up to +3. I don't really understand why he did that. You should have just T-Wave turn 2 and then bailed. I suppose it works out in the end because you got the full power on the exact turn essentially. But
you got the power on the right turn, but it did not work out how it should have. But that's pretty much Mons for you.
And then to add insult to injury, then we get the Iron Head Flinch to break the disguise on the second fairy.
Mimikyu coming in, game flinched.
So the game pretty much wasn't. The record and differential didn't really represent what the game actually was.
Yeah, I think a costly misplay from the Ladner Lanturn there was bailed out pretty heavily by definitely one considerable turn of good hacks in his favour.
And then 2 to add on a little bit.
And then the Iron Head Flinch onto Mimikyu was just to add insult to injury a little bit.
So basically, it just wasn't really optimal playing. It was leaning. I guess it really was kind of leaning on hacks in a way. It's like, you could kind of play like that if, I don't know, there's a Mega Aggron in the back that just Rabombi could be +6 and it wouldn't care. But like, he just wasn't putting himself in a good position because if he didn't get the paralysis or the flinch when he did, this game would be very, very different.
I mean, as much as we're saying that he got lucky. After that, he did manage the game very well.
Yeah. But...
I mean, like, even at that position, if you still slip up, you look at the team. There's quite a few things that can still roll through.
Yeah.
So,
but it feels like a bailout, unfortunately, and not to be overly critical of Ian. He made the plays that essentially won him the game, but I think that scoreline is really unfair to Axel. Like, because without that full power, he was dead on set to take 2 or 3 more mons away from the Ladners at least, away from the Lanturns at least. But I've got no further comments. If anybody has anything to wrap it up, but.
Let's move on.
No, in that case, our third game in the Blue Division saw the New Jersey Houndooms, coached by Loco Ghoul, take on the Atlanta Landorus, coached by Monster. And this was another 4-0 bash A lot of
Yeah,
these
a
games
lot
this
of-
week have been complete wipe.
A lot of games have just been complete bashes. Yeah.
Yeah, as we'll find out moving later on. But again, this isn't like this is another game where I can't really comment on a lot of stuff from Monster's side because there just wasn't a lot to see.
Well, I feel like
For
with
him.
what Monster played, he done well. Venusaur under Sun is obviously a threat, right?
Yeah,
And I was thinking, you know what? I'm sure that Monster has, something for it. Looking at his team, he actually didn't have anything for it, surprisingly.
at all.
Yeah, it literally just won.
And
It was more of a matchup thing than just bodying thing.
oh yeah, but as well, Loco seemed to have like just a dead set game plan that
Yeah,
came off absolutely foolproof. Led off with the suicide lead arrow. Sorry, there's
get up
some
the
very
rocks, make
loud
sure they're up so that
stuff.
nothing else can, deter. And then go hard Torko right after the rocks are up and then win.
Set up the rocks, kept them up by taunting the defogger, and then after that, it really didn't matter. Torkoal plus Vino had the game wrapped up by turn 10, and after that, it just took,
Couple more turns.
Yawn Torkoal into Landorus to clean out Zardex and whatnot. Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing really too much to say about it. It was just. It was what it was. It was just an unfortunate sweep and a really well executed game plan for the Houndooms and Loco.
I do have one thing to put in there is because the matchup for Venu was so good there and it had to be prepped around really creatively to even have a chance of stopping it. I didn't even really see that attempt, honestly. I don't really see what on his team was expected to at least try to take on Venu. You gotta have at least something. This team looked like it just auto lost to Sun, and it'd be one thing if it's just a minor Mon, it set up its own Sun, but no, this is a Sun team, and he looked like he brought not much for Sun.
Yeah, but it's not always the easiest for players to come up with that creative solution. And
I know, I'm saying it like it's easy, and it's definitely not. But just the team just. Yeah, I could have seen at least something.
It's unfortunate. Right, I think unfortunately we're flying through these games because there's just not a great deal to talk about from both ends. It's all one-sided. But if there's no final points,
the body bags this week.
Yeah,
this is nothing to talk about because of all the body bags.
Absolutely. If there's nothing else to add, we'll move on to our next game, which is another. Body bagging that we can't even watch due to the fact it was played on Wi-Fi, but that's no
big
bearing.
rips.
It's allowed in the league, so the Nimrod Ninetales, coached by our very own Zach T in the call with us, versus the Adelaide Honchkrows, coached by Bill Standish, ending in a 5-0 victory to the Honchkrows. So Zach, give us a quick rundown. I know you've sent us all the prep notes, and I've got some of my own notes based on what I've read by what I've sent to you. But just give a real quick rundown of your perspective of the game.
So, in my mind, even before I went into the battle, I knew I was going to lose this week.
Oh.
In fact, it sounds ridiculous, but hear me out. When building for Bill, it didn't feel like I was making a team. It just felt like I was putting Mons on a team for the sake of it.
Okay.
It felt like the team didn't synergize. The draft in itself didn't synergize. I was really happy with the draft.
This was a
but
point we
then,
picked up on in
actually
REDCast.
coming back to it,
The team needed a lot of work to be good.
Yeah, and actually, the day before the battle, when I was getting the team genned, I was talking to Bill because he'd had his team genned, and he literally sat in DMs and he was like, okay, to make it better, you change this. He was a massive help. Even though I was going to be facing him the day after, I was like, okay, to make it better in the future, we'll do this. But I did what I could with what I had, and well, as you saw, it's an absolute trouncing.
Yeah. So unfortunately, there'll be no visual unless Bill's video goes up. in between now and the release of this Redcast. Otherwise, you should see it on your screens in a quicker at a quicker speed. But the overall problem seemed to be, from the notes that I've read, was that you didn't really have an Articuno switch at all. Bill was just able to hit Hurricanes quite consistently, and it cost you a sack nearly every time. And then, unfortunately, like, Necrozma just had the ideal set to completely end the game with Photon Geyser, Earth Power.
Yep. Photon Geyser and Earthquake, yeah.
Yeah, it was just able to clean out the game that way. Nice tech as well from the Citrus Berry on Bill's end, accounting for the fact that he needed 3 attacks and rocks on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, not a great.
Yeah, there's really not a lot to talk about at all. Like, absolute, like, no disrespect at all. Amazing person, great battler. Just, it didn't. I had nothing, absolutely nothing this week.
Well, I'm sure he'll be very happy to hear your sentimental thoughts on him. Anything from either of you two to remark on? I know there's not a great deal to view, but
I mean,
this will all come out in
I
your
don't know, nothing specific. I just blame it on Ranma and Greninja.
Yeah, fair enough. King, nothing from you? Anything from you?
Nothing really much, yeah.
Fair enough. Alright, so we'll move on to one of the 2 closer games this week. The Flint Tropius versus the Golden State Wartortles, ending in a very close 1-0 victory for the Wartortles. General thoughts on this game, folks? Or do you want
This is one of the games I didn't get to, so I'm literally watching it as we're talking about it.
That's fine. We'll
Yeah.
If nobody else has got points, I'll start. That's fine.
Yeah, if you lead off.
The Adam is always insistent on bringing flinch bullshit. It's why he's got the core he has of Jirachi and
Togekiss.
Yeah, he loves his Flint BS. Scarf Jirachi though put in an exceptional amount of work versus the Tropius this week and Shiny. I keep calling it Tropius. Yeah. It's not Tropius. It's Tropius. Tropius. Flint Tropius. And Shiny. The key point though of this game was for me when Shiny sacks off his Chomp to the Togekiss, either miscalculating the damage. I understand Shiny was on mobile, so you know, a little bit of leniency where it's due in that fact, but unless you're absolutely sure that the Stone Edge can kill the Togekiss, I don't know why you'd ever risk your Chomp like that, considering it's one of your better win cons, because it always forces Jirachi into either Zen Headbutt, which is, you know, a lower percentage chance to flinch. It's only 40% chance instead of the 60% chance you get on Iron Head. Or it forces it to Ice Punch, which has no win con viability at all for the Wartortles late game. However, because he didn't have that, he could just spam Iron Head for the clean victory.
However, I would have also kept Garchomp for Rough Skin, mainly.
Yeah, because that's exactly why it stops.
Yeah, I would have just kept it for that, because that was, 2 Rough Skin hits, which is all you need, really. And then 1 hit on any mon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, he did get unfortunate with the last 2 mons, both being completely flinched down in Crobat and the other thing. What was his other last one? I can't remember. It may have been Mawile.
Yeah, Mawile, I think.
But I don't know. It feels like a misplay which sealed the game. But you know, credit to Adam to bring the mons that he needs to win the game. But I think just some slight misplays. Real put the nails in the coffin for the Tropius this week. Any other thoughts to add to that?
I've got one thing is... Oh, sorry, go on, guys.
No, go on, Zach. You haven't spoken on the game yet, so...
Yeah. One thing I think was... They should just watch it back. And if it was worried about KOing the Togekiss, then why did he burn his Z versus the Zapdos then? I mean, I know Togekiss is more likely to be a Scarf set, just like Jirachi would be, but if he was really worried about KOing Togekiss, then why didn't he save the Z? Because the only thing that Zapdos would have to prep with HPI specifically for Garchomp was Togekiss either flinches it or Dazzling Gleams it.
I mean, the Zapdos
if he was that worried,
the Zapdos set was offensive and was likely packing HPIs if you look at the damage it was doing overall to things like Mew, and by the fact that it was carrying Electrium Z. So, depending on how shiny felt his answers were for offensive Zapdos, I can definitely see that. But also the fact that defensive Zapdos can easily carry HPIs as well. So
yeah, and that's the thing with these mons like Zapdos, they can be terrifying offensively, but they can also run bulk and just wall everything alive.
Yeah. But that'll be the reasoning behind why he burned Rockium.
Yeah.
But then, you know, he had the ability to play around a little bit more toxic damage as well if he needed it, before risking a Stone Edge. But it is what it is, and I think overall the game ended a little bit unfairly towards the Wartortles due to the amount of flinches that occurred. But unfortunately, that's the risk you take playing around with two Serene Grace mons.
Yeah, and this is just a little nitpick more so than a big issue, but you know, not having anything faster than Scarf Jirachi, like having a fast Scarfer, is like pretty much always giving yourself, you know, at least some percentage chance to lose just by getting flinched down. Like, yeah, just
absolutely, yeah.
Great. So moving on to the penultimate game of Blue Division, the Detroit Teravolts took on the Heracross Almelo. So that was last week's caster Showen and his Heracross Almelo taking on Nacho and his Detroit Teravolts, ending in a 2-0 victory overall for the Teravolts.
So that Trevenant set was great.
Yeah, Sash Seed Trevenant was an excellent pull for the Victini.
Yeah, first week he already does prove me wrong, because I said in my power rankings I really would be surprised to see a week that he'd like to bring Trevenant if he already has Roserade, and week one he already proves to me why he has Trevenant in addition to Roserade. So, you know, that's always good. I say I want people to prove me wrong and do better, and you know, this is one of those cases.
Using that mon in the way he did was really good.
Yeah. Because
Victini, if he didn't kill the Victini down, I'm pretty sure it just beat every other mon, right? Outside of maybe the Lati.
He didn't have any major switch-ins for Victini at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. VP at Bolt Strike just runs through, yeah.
So
I've Latios, that'd be his only switch-in.
Yeah.
I feel like for this game, the main issue was Steelix left the game too early, and then Coco kind of just won.
Yeah, absolutely. Sacking Steelix in the way that he did was...
I imagine
really
it was
risky.
a Scarf Roserade, but even if it was Scarf Roserade, yeah.
You're still taking that risk, especially if you need to use it as a
Also,
sack.
the double opened up the game so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
He went into hard Holucha knowing that he had the defense boost and that the DD, even if he clicked it, he outsped and killed, which was a really nice play.
The one thing I want to bring up about the Steelix is that the calc showed that the Zydog was banded, I believe, and Clef eats that, and it requires a pretty hefty prediction from Nacho to click Iron Tail in order to catch Clef, because if you don't, not only do you do like literally 2 to Steelix, there's also a very good chance you're losing your Zygarde 50 on that turn. Your Zygarde 10 on that turn, which is a huge problem.
But Nacho clicking just a banded 1,000 arrows was really good for him.
Yeah,
Because
incredibly safe.
it showed how much of the pressure it does.
It put a lot of pressure on. It always forces Clef to recover, but Showen, I think, just made the mistake to not persist with being with Clef's reliability. You brought up a very good point about the hard double into Hawlucha. A very good play. However, one little nitpick thing I have is the fact that Nacho didn't seem to be paying attention to his win con. SD Lucha at the time it came in on turn 24, or the turn or two before that, won the game right there if you pressed Sword Stance. The Clef wasn't at all unaware by the fact that it came in on rocks about 5 times. Which I think is another mistake on Showen's part, because otherwise SD Lucha could have just cleared out the game right there, or even earlier for that matter. I'm not quite sure on Showen's rationale about not being unaware, especially if you're going to run Wish Protect as well with no 1-turn recovery. But yeah, then the game's cleared out by Coco anyway.
Coco just takes advantage of nothing else left there for
the lack
it.
of a resist and an immunity to its stat.
Pretty much, just don't underestimate Coco, and that's about it.
Yeah. And you know, hats off to the way Nacho played as well.
Yeah, he's really impressed me in that week, and also in another league we're doing. Like, he's found his own recently, so I'm really impressed with him.
Yeah, hitting his stride this early.
Yeah.
But hopefully Sean can bounce back as well and make it not so hard on the road after the first couple of weeks. Any final points on this one?
Not much left.
Great. If there's nothing else, then we will move on to our Blue Division Game of the Week, as voted by our fantastic league and spectators.
Hooray.
So if everybody wants to get the game up on their screens, I will put
Yep.
it up.
I'm ready when you guys are.
So it's up live on my screen now for all the REDCast people at home. Essentially, just call out any turns that you want to, specifically highlight. I'll stop the recording and move back to wherever you want. Stop the game.
Yeah.
But starting straight off, I'm going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, actually, I was going to want to say something about team preview.
Well, we can pause right now if you want to say.
Yeah,
let's go. I'm only on turn 1.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Basically, I'm just kind of looking at Mandibuzz here and kind of wondering how it's gonna die this game, because Zeraora, can kill it, but then there's also 2 ground types on the Beware's side, and you're almost never gonna want to click an electric move because of that, and just immediately it looks like it's gonna be kind of tough to break.
Yeah, it does from the outset.
That's from the outset, but then if you actually have a look into Zera's move pool, I think with just easy 4 moves Life Orb, they can clean out majority of the team.
Yeah.
Because the Beware's bought a pretty, I wouldn't want to say a hyper offensive, but the Mons that he brought weren't very defensive, to say the least, outside of like Seismitoad and Mandibuzz.
That is true.
It depends how Camerupt is EV'd to make that assumption, but
Also, Lele, outside of Celebi, I didn't see anything to handle it, which is not a good thing.
I mean, there's very few things that can actually handle Lele overall.
I don't think it's necessarily there being very few things. I think it's just that he didn't bring like a soft check to it. Just something that can come in and revenge if it's Scarf, something like that.
Depending on the scissor set, that's an option.
Oh yeah, depending on the scissor set, but Bullet Punch doesn't work, which is always an issue, which is Lele's main detriment or thing that makes Steel's bad against it.
Yeah, well, it's the thing that makes Scissor specifically against it. There's not
and Metagross, stuff like that, yeah.
But yeah, I'm just on turn 2 and progressing the battle now. We see the Celebi versus the Lele. Houndoom Hercules able to get their rocks up earlier, which is ideal. The the Brighton Bewares respond in turn.
Going to Camel, getting rocks, yeah.
Unfortunately, the Hercules miss a Dragon Tail versus the Mandibuzz coming in, which is a bit unfortunate. It was a good chance for additional chip, but inaccurate moves.
It's only 90 accuracy. Give it a rest. It's only 90.
Well, yeah.
This
It's
is
just
my-
like Thunder where it's 70 accuracy.
The main turn that really changed a lot, I think, is turn 12, where the Will-O-Wisp missed.
Yeah, real quick prior to that, turn 8, here's why Zeraora is such a problem. You bring your Seismitoad in as an answer and a check, and then it takes over 50% from a close combat.
Yeah. Again, I don't like Zeraora still. I don't think it's like amazing, but it is still a threat, obviously.
So far, it's looking solid in this game.
Yeah, very solid, yeah.
So moving up to turn 12, here's the Will-O-Wisp miss that you were talking about. So the Druddigon comes in and dodges a Willow. This is, yes, I will agree, incredibly important to the overall outcome of the game. He then gets a crit Earthquake
on the Lele, yeah. Even worse.
So it just went from bad to worse real quick for the Bewares team. And again, Celebi is always that much of a safe switch that he's got nothing to fear. Can just press recover unless he gets crit.
And then Evan starts to realize this and starts making doubles into Camel when Lele's there, which is really good on his part. And then you start to see the burn taking a lot of effect around turn 20 to 22, around there.
Just let me see where.
Yeah, I'll wait.
So in that time, Seismitoad's going down. Yeah, turn 22. Here we go.
And then you can see he goes Druddigon, quick surf power, and then the damage 43%. So that would have been what, 20 max, 21, 22.
Yeah, huge.
Which
it's a lot.
I used Camel versus Megalop. I'm pretty sure it might have lived the actual hit there.
Maybe I haven't confirmed.
Possibly,
with that.
But keeping it around just for like the zeros was also really good.
Yeah, definitely more problematic.
And then I think from this point it was pretty much a case of when do you want to bring out Zeraora to start cleaning.
Yeah, between Lop and Zeraora, the game kind of had
a foregone conclusion. Was really confusing when I saw turn 32.
Hang on, just letting the game progress naturally to there.
Yeah.
28.
So here he goes, instead of... Yeah.
I'm still a little bit behind just because I'm letting the viewers see the whole game. Como, dead weight in this match, unfortunately.
At that point, yeah.
Just not able to do anything. Yeah, okay, so turn 31, he also ends up sacking his camera up, and then here we go, turn 32. Who's crunching?
That would be my water, my bad. I have ice.
I thought you were eating.
Nope.
Turn 32, yeah. So, give us your thoughts on this.
Okay, so here he goes Zeraora to sack it off, right?
Yeah.
And I imagine he sacked it off for the just the Lele so that it had an easier time and Celebi didn't have to possibly risk losing to a roll, right?
Yep.
But here I would have actually considered sacking off Gramble instead, because even if the Azelf was, say, locked into whatever move it was, even if he was, say, locked into Moonblast or Psychic, Celebi came in each and every time and lived a hit.
Yeah. If
it was Scar. Like, I understand saving Gramble also was the play, but I feel like that was slightly risky depending on what the Azelf locked itself into.
Yeah, the only other thing it could have really locked himself into, which was threatening, which was Flamethrower, but
yeah,
you can still play around that, and things like Grambler and Lop are at a high enough HP to at least take one, so I don't think there was a great deal of risk at that point.
hmm
Um,
Then yeah, he just won the game out from there.
yeah, after that, it's just a case of when. Sacks the Celebi to get Gramble in safely. And there's that exact win condition that was previously mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. Any comments?
Any post-game thoughts? Yeah, from
Outside of that, really good game, pretty much.
yeah, deserving to be game of the week.
Hacks aside, it was pretty fun, and it wasn't like a washout like most of the games this week were.
Yeah.
All right, time to yellow, I guess.
Well, if nobody else has anything to say, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
No. Let's go straight into it.
Just accidentally shown a snippet of a later yellow game. Right, so our yellow matchups. We start with a relatively close game between the Vancouver Milotics, coached by TB, and the Carioca Krooks, coached by Elbirabon. Two main points to say about this game. Crawdon and Curran B were a menace to each other's teams.
I actually took the notes for this game, actually, so yeah, very lacked to switch in for both Crawdon and Coco. Showed with Craw and Coco claiming the kill when they came in pretty much. Same thing went for TB, who thought Infernape was not threatening enough to save Cresselia.
There's a point I want to bring up about Cress in a little bit, but certainly finishing points here.
So yeah, he decided to set Cresselia later in the game, deciding that Infernape wasn't threatening enough to keep it around when Infernape lost in the game. And then KB was just being KB.
Just the monster it is.
Yeah.
From my perspective, TB made a couple of crucial misplays across the course of the match. The first was letting Tornadus Eye go down so early. I assume, I'm going to make the assumption that thing had defog on it.
If it had defog Tailwind, that would actually been very good.
Well, maybe not so much Tailwind, but just having
with Tailwind, didn't he just beat any Infernape outside of Vacuum Wave? Because I don't think Vacuum Wave one-shots a Crawdon if it has HP.
It might still outspeed, depending on Crawdon's own investment, because Crawdon is hella slow.
And also, Crawdon outspeeds after Tailwind, so Aqua Jet I know kills Infernape.
Well, yeah, but you don't need Tailwind for Aqua Jet. I suppose...
Oh no, you actually do, because if the Infernape was actually quicker, then its priority would have gone first had it...
Yeah, I would still run it as a soft check in case if the Tornai went down and webs were up like that game.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely,
that time
you
was,
run it in that case, but I don't think it matters as much against the Infernape.
Okay, yeah, true.
Unless the Infernape is locked into a move that isn't priority. Because I'm pretty sure that Crawdon, even under +2, won't outspeed a Scarf Infernape because of the speed difference in their natural base stats.
Yeah,
although I could be wrong and I've not checked to calc. But
yeah,
the webs.
I can check if you want.
I mean, don't go out your way. It's
no point.
It's only quick reviews. But letting Tornadus Eye go down when Slurpuff was still around and the webs threat was very real was misplay number 1. Misplay number 2 occurred on turn 8, where Birry had his Curran Black in versus the Cresselia, and it hit a Sub-Zero Slammer that did like 90%.
Yeah, I
80%.
At that point, I was just like, oh god, this is not the time to click substitute.
Yeah, if TB recovers on that turn, TB likely turns that entire game from a loss to a win. Because
exactly.
There's nothing further on that team that breaks down Cresselia.
You click recover no matter what, just to check what move it clicks anyways.
Yeah. Recover's always the safe move for scouting, and then after that, it's just a case of getting yourself back up to full, and I'm not sure what Birry had as a response to that.
Not much. The sub was just... I guess it was sub Calm Mind, which Yeah, I don't know.
It's an S set, but certainly just pressing recover would have been the most ideal situation to have happened.
Yeah.
And would have certainly put TB in a much more advantageous position.
Outside of that fun game.
Outside of that, great game. The only other little niggle I have with it is a misplay with Pyro, where he hyper voices instead of just keeps clicking Fire Blast on Scar.
Yeah.
It just let more toxic damage rack up and causes it to turn quicker. But
outside of that, pretty good.
Yeah. Outside of
Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Welcome back.
We just covered Gary.
Next,
we just
or
covered
any thoughts?
TB versus Biri, yeah.
Yeah, you guys covered everything I wanted to say on that, so...
No, fair enough.
Well,
Apologies for stealing the material. Our next game is the Blackburn Snovers, coached by... I hate pronouncing his name, I'm really sorry. Fuck. Right, I'm going to give up trying to pronounce that, I'm sorry.
I'm going to just say Huao, or Huao.
That's actually much better, I think. That's much better, I think.
You've saved me the embarrassment by coming up with something much worse, potentially. So the Blackburn Snovers versus the Virginia Escaviliers. Overall, a 4-0 game in favour of the Snovers. Another body bag. Focus Punch Mawile, absolutely great prep on the Snovers side.
Yeah, I loved the unprotected Focus Punch. Like,
I'm assuming it was sub in the back, it's just I don't think...
So, I've never seen a man get inside another man's head that quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Arctic was on the back pedal as soon as it clicked Focus Punch, because he was like, well, there goes my guaranteed switch into this thing.
But even then, like, Komo's no guaranteed switch to Omega Maw.
Oh no, not even Como. I'm talking about Heatran. He couldn't comfortably go into Heatran anymore.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no.
Because like,
I'm pretty sure get to get Heatran in.
Arctic would have went hard Heatran after that turn if he had clicked, say, Play Rough or Ironhead.
Yeah.
But then, yeah.
I also don't like the fact that in response to that, Arctic just kept pressing sub with Como and just let it die.
Yeah, I wouldn't have let it die. That's that.
Just really questionable plays, and from there, like, the advantage just kept going more and more in favour of the Snovers.
And the burning of the Z was really the game clinching thing that early on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, he went out to Torn, which is obviously fine, and then he decided to try and burn the Z early. I would have clicked U-turn there, maybe, just to scout.
Yeah, for sure.
Because at that point, he hadn't revealed his switch to Torn at that point, right?
Like, yeah, he didn't reveal his switch into Torn, which I assumed was Incineroar, obviously, but yeah. It could have been Blastoise AV. Both AV mons actually switching pretty well to it.
Yeah, and then you look, I don't know, Arctic's team was a little odd. I definitely understand the Glalie being there for the Zygarde, but then you look at the entire rest
Glalie had a pretty fun matchup. If it was like... Because Earthquake with, Freeze Dry and Ice Shard actually could have cleaned late game with Incineroar gone.
Okay, that's actually fair. Yeah.
Incineroar was preserved pretty well. That's pretty much it.
To me, Arctic just didn't show up to the game. He didn't look like he had any sort of offensive plan after the sub punch was revealed. No backup whatsoever, and like the Snovers just took momentum from turn 2 and had no real problem.
I think the main issue. The main issue was that Arctic listened to Perp and didn't put rests on his Araquanid.
Absolutely.
Because Araquanid, as a defensive mon, Araquanid needs rest.
Yeah.
Like, I love defensive Araquanid, but it needs recovery.
Or it needs wish support, of which it got neither.
It couldn't get any this game. Outside of that, it was pretty much just a domination by the Snovers. But yeah, for future games, just try to conserve win cons and like Z moves a lot late game. Try and like scout first off.
Or just don't go brain dead after turn 2, because, like, I'm not going to mince words. That's looked like what happened. Arctic just resorted to clicking buttons, I think, in my opinion, after that.
I mean, clicking buttons helped a 4-0 at least, instead of a 6-0.
Yeah, but maybe that felt more guaranteed, more like...
I mean, that shows how good Arctic's team is, that him clicking buttons actually helps lower the differential so much.
Yeah, maybe so. Right, any overall final points to make on that?
Not much, no.
Nope. In that case, shall we move on to our next match, which is the Pittsburgh Magic Guards, coached by Recon Jack, versus the New Orleans Pinsirs, coached by Jay, a match which ended in a 4-0 victory for the New Orleans Pinsirs.
Uh-huh.
So,
the matchup?
The matchup was A's for Recon Jack. Like,
just have a look at the matchup from this get-go. Like, all I see here is a Pursuit Tita to a Bronzong and then Lele food.
Yep. This was like the most unideal matchup Recon Jack could have ever got. And
week 1 or any week potentially, yeah.
When the schedule was released, his first message after that release was, "You've done this on purpose." And as much as people would love me to rig schedules for each other, I have no hand in the RNG.
Maybe you did for me versus Jock, but outside of that,
no, not even that. That was just fate wanting fate wants.
I'm glad it was such a good game as well.
Yeah, the matchup was just overall super favoured towards Jay. Lele and Medicham took Recon's team apart.
That Medicham set, well then, that was pretty fun, I'll be honest.
Sub-recover Medicham, I've never seen that before. Never.
I think it's one of Jay's more favoured sets, to be honest, as unique as it is. I think Jay's
a very unique builder when it comes to playing. He'll go for unconventional, but like still effective sets. Yeah. I mean, it was for much better this game, I feel.
It was.
That Mega Medi set was able to take out 2 of his switch-ins easily.
I do want to give special mention to Dual Screen's Bronzong on the side of Recon. I think
that Dual Screen Bronzong into like a Cephalon, if he played it right, would have been pretty fun.
Yeah, if he could get the offensive advantage, which he just unfortunately wasn't able to.
Couldn't against the sub Mega Medi.
Yeah.
And I just kind of didn't like... In this, didn't really end up mattering very much, but you know how he played his Kang versus the Ferrothorn. He already saw its Rocky Helmet Iron Barbs and already almost half killed himself, on the first attack, and then he proceeds to then kill himself anyway.
Kill it.
I just don't think he had much of a switch for it, though.
When it comes to Kang, I like to run like Wish just for movesets like this, because I know they're gonna bring a Rocky Helmet mon if I have a Mega Kang.
Yeah.
So Wish is a really nice way of just, guaranteeing that you get some HP back, and also a way to preserve the rest of your team.
It's making sure that you can adequately cover the threats in 2 moves, though, if you're gonna bring Wish to on Kang, which I don't really think that Recon could overall. Outside
of that, I would have actually. With Recon, I would have went into the Hariyama when the Primarina killed the Garchomp. Mm-hmm. Oh no, I would have gone hard Clefable to sack it, and then gone Hariyama knowing it killed.
Well, Clef was already dead by this point, and this was something that I want to bring up.
So I would have tried to sack the Clef just to get in Hariyama against the Primarina to try and kill it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Garchomp, with the 4 mons that Jay had left, if it wasn't a Scarf Lele, it could have actually won. Because I know
think it was Scarf Lele, though, wasn't it? I don't know.
I mean, if it wasn't, it could have won, because that was an offensive Gliscor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was...
It clicking SD tells me it was offensive, yeah.
Gliscors are weird, because they can usually run that bulk plus
SD facade.
Yeah. The one play that I really disagree with on Recon's end was the decision to Cosmic Power on Mega Medicham when it was behind the sub with Clef.
Yep, that definitely. You attack anything behind the sub, in my opinion.
I understand it's going for game, but We all know that Zen's got that percentage flinch chance.
And that's
And
exactly
also,
what happened. Exactly
just
what
Zen
happened.
Zen hits hard.
Yeah, and if it lands and it
Yeah.
flinches once, that's your clef gone. And Jay had already spammed it 2 or 3 more times, so he wasn't that far off, you know, statistically looking like very strong to get the flinch.
Yeah.
But after that, it was just the pre-Marina show to clean up. Nothing really exciting to say about that. Any final points
Nothing
from
else.
the panel?
Nope.
No. You've just said every little note that I've put down here, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Alright.
Next up, we have the London Garchomp, coached by our very own
Your boy.
in-cast Specs Cranch. And his opponent, the Toronto Bidoofs, coached by the equally crange Perp Derpy.
It was pretty much the battle of 2 memes. Like,
Yeah.
Alright,
In a 4-0 to the Garchomps.
going into this game. Wait, it was a 4-0? I thought it was a 5-0.
5-0 then, sorry.
Yeah.
Might have
Going
happened
into this
again.
game, I knew there were 3 mons that Pup brought that 100% ruined my life.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided not to bring one of them, so that really helped. Because it was Thundy, Hooper, and Piloswine. That 3 of those mons just ruined me.
Mm-hmm.
Because Piloswine forced me to always go and swap out whenever I had my Hydreigon in. And it also made it so that my Diancie didn't have a very good matchup until it was chipped. But he decided not to bring it, so that helped.
Does anybody have any points that they'd like to make before I get to what I have to say about Perp? Because I think it's best that anything anybody has to say is out the way before I say what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I got something.
So,
I don't necessarily agree with this team wasn't totally defensive, but Perp's team still did seem like slower and pretty defensive when playing against such a powerful offense team, against, a Hydreigon and a Victini and a Nidoqueen and a Mega Diancie. Like, that's hard to play, defensively against.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, completely agree.
Outside of that, pretty much everything I've said. Also, I'd just like to give a shout out to my defensive Hydreigon. It actually done its job for once.
Always puts in the work for me.
I mean,
Fan of
like,
Hydra.
I was like, am I really gonna bring defensive Hydreigon onto my Hooper switching? And it actually pretty much handled it effectively.
Yep.
I don't think he ever clicked an attack with Hoopa.
He clicked
Hyperspace Fury.
He clicked a lot.
turn
He
1.
clicked a Drain Punch against my Nidoqueen, expecting Hydreigon to come in. And then he clicked Hyperspace Fury against the Hydreigon that did come in.
Yeah. I mean, your walls typically do stay healthy when they're not attacked.
Yeah.
So,
One thing I actually do want to say to Specs, why did you, I know Seth is fat, but on an Autotomo set, why did you keep running Heavy Slam? Why didn't you run Einhead of Smotch, like, reliable damage?
So I was actually doing a couple calcs after this, and Celesteela is the heaviest mon in the game at 999.9 pounds, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
the only mon that actually affects it after a heavy slam, because it only knocks off 100 pounds, is Guzzlord, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Or one of those mons, like a Primal Groudon or something.
Heavy Slam works on weight difference between the two
Yeah.
mons to
Yeah.
calculate its base power.
So Heavy Slam just done the same damage to every single mon on his team. Maybe not Hooper, because Hooper's actually quite fat, I found out.
Yeah, Hooper's really heavy, actually.
Because of the movie like thing, but yeah. Outside of that, it was actually a pretty good set.
Yeah.
I didn't know Celesteela was that heavy, to be honest.
I actually Googled it before the game just to make sure I wasn't making a mistake.
Yeah.
So I remember it from that.
So I've got some potentially polarizing things to say about this game. So the Hydro Miss sucked, but as we established post game, it had zero mattering, and from the amount of theory modding bullshit I saw going in that channel, I've come to the conclusion that Perp went absolutely brain dead after sacking his Finny to Nidoqueen. I'd pick out some stuff that like was positive to say about Perp's game, but I have nothing. He played really poorly around Nidoqueen. First, to just openly let his Finny go down to it, which is fine. The Hydro misses suck. There's nothing you can do about it. But then to go straight into Buzzwole and then just let that die as well with no real... King, was it a Scarf Nidoqueen?
That was just a Life Orb Nidoqueen.
So he didn't even invest enough speed to outspeed whatever the Nidoqueen was, how much speed it has, because Buzzwole is naturally faster than Nidoqueen.
Is it?
I believe so. I think it gets like...
It is by 3 points.
Yeah, Nidoqueen is slower than...
But I did have some investment on my Nidoqueen to outspeed a 0-speed Finny. So if you only put 4 EVs, then yeah, I outsped.
Well, why are you only putting 4 EVs?
I know. I feel like he should have put a lot more.
On a Mon that outspeeds a key Nidoqueen that can be both offensive and defensive. So
yeah, Buzzwole's naturally bulky.
I mean, it's naturally bulky, but it's an offensive threat. You need speed on it, especially if it outspeeds a key Mon like Nidoqueen. So I don't understand Perp's rationale. I think he just switched off after he lost Finny to the Nidoqueen, and then just didn't even bother to... I don't even know what was going through his head with the Buzzwole play. Like, it's such a ridiculous play to have made. Quite frankly, you dominated the game and Perp just didn't show up. And if he carries on playing like that, number 1 candidate for demotion this season. If he doesn't turn it around. I mean, you can call me Mike for going after him like this, but I'm not. Like, I don't
this
know,
sounds like Mike's words pretty much.
It frustrates to see like how you can just switch off like that and just click buttons for the rest of the game. Like, I don't know, man. I've said it now, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those are completely fair criticisms.
Wake up for future games, Perp. Just
like he had some logic behind some of the plays he made, but like, I wouldn't have clicked Hydro with the Finny straight away, not knowing my Nidoqueen set. I feel like that was his main display.
Lack of scouting, lack of forethought.
Because he didn't know if I was defensive, because if I was defensive, I lived, and I just clicked it again and killed him.
Right.
And I still lived anyways, even with the offensive build that I had, because I was 248 HP. But, yeah.
Okay. Right. Any final comments, or should we move on to our next
Let's
game?
move on.
For fat.
Yeah,
and
let's move on to the next game.
Right, so we have the Royal Tiger Ninja versus the Lowell Spinder in our next game. A 5-0 victory for the Royal Tiger Ninja. So following the theme this week of general body bagging. So Subseed Serp, very dominant early game. Completely put Lonely under pressure.
I don't understand Lonely. Like,
sacking
when he clicked a U-turn, no, not even Sneasel. When he clicked a U-turn into the Zard or into the Sneasel, both of those plays were horrible.
Yeah, just
like
another.
The Sneasel getting rid of the one thing that outsped it and killed. Why?
Just another switch off and click button.
And then number 2, sacking a Zardex when it has Dragon Pulse 100%. Because this league is first turn mega guaranteed, so yeah. I don't see the play there. This could have easily been a 6-0 had he clicked Leaf Storm against Cobalion instead of Dragon Pulse.
Yeah, this was a point that you brought up, Zach, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did. I was going over, I was like, but if Dragon Pulse on switching, if you literally just give Leaf Storm, it just, like, what, it's 130 base plus stab, like, and Dragon Pulse is doing 39, it's killing this thing, and if you see the rest of the game, Cobal ends up being a massive issue to his team because he can't bring Mamoswine in really together with Lando.
Yeah. The only thing I'm thinking is that he miscalculated the rolls and just didn't want to miss a Leaf Storm because it's not 100% accurate. But
Yeah, plus misses are a thing. We've seen a fair amount of moves missing this week.
Yeah. So yeah, after Sneasel goes down, I think it becomes just too late for Lonely to do anything about Zaffa's defenses. He tries to make some stuff work with the Calm Mind thingamabobber.
Necrozma.
That's the one. But he just doesn't have the firepower to break down the likes of Suicune and such. And also, a point that I want to bring up is that in the original REDCast post-draft reviews, we were sort of confused and maybe slated Zaffa a little bit for putting Z-Move onto his Lucario. But actually this week with Scarf Z, he's already on the track to proving a lot of us wrong. Because the set clearly did work for him and was able to help him clean out the rest of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I like Lucario, obviously. I feel like Loney his head was not in this game at all.
Yeah.
It's similar to Perp's situation. If you don't fix up, I can only see the motion for you at this rate.
I mean,
because I feel like with Perp, he went brain dead after that. I feel like Loney was just brain dead with the Sneasel and Zard play from the get-go.
Loney went brain dead on the plays that mattered and it cost him.
Yeah.
And he spent the rest of the game trying to make...
Yeah.
That's the difference.
That was the issue.
Lonely went brain dead in the turns that really mattered in the decisions he had to make. And then spent the rest of the game actually playing okay to try and make back up for it.
But it was just too late.
Yeah, by comparison...
And he only got that shot in the first place because of the Dragon Pulse play on Valiant.
Had it not been, had he clicked Leaf Storm, I'm pretty sure that was game, wasn't it?
Yeah, likely.
Because I don't see anything else outside of maybe... Well, it was a low roll on the Dragon Pulse, but I don't see anything else outside of maybe a Scarf Quillfish, which I know it wasn't.
No, it definitely wasn't. We know that.
Yeah, so that was pretty much game.
The difference being that then in the Perp game, he missed the play that would have got guaranteed heavy chip on Nidoqueen, but then afterwards went completely brain dead.
So for this, pretty much in reference, just don't be afraid to click what's ahead of you, and also don't swap in random things that cost you the game.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's for both sides, pretty much, yeah.
Any other points to make, guys?
Nope.
No.
Great. Then our penultimate game is the CLE Legends versus the UNC Wingull, ending in a 5-0 victory to the CLE Legends. So another pretty hefty one-sided game. This game, to me, comes down to two pretty big mistakes on the UNC Wingull's end, so Johnson's end.
Yeah. So, I know Johnson is a really, really gifted player when he puts his head into the game. But I feel like with this game, he just didn't put his head into it. Mainly, he sacked his Scolipede without knowing the Metagross set. That was an issue.
That was the second mistake that I had it down. The first one was the no consideration for Grass Knot on Metagross.
That would have caught me off guard as well.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, it's an amazing tech. It's a great tech.
Not so much tech; it's an excellent bring because
it's an excellent bring considering. Because you'd think, just click the Steel move. That's probably what it'll do. But then when he clicks a Grass move, you don't expect it.
Take away nothing from what Nathan's brought. Very good prep from his end, but unfortunately, just like a really...
Outside of that, my main issue here was he tricked the Choice Scarf onto the Sylveon, which is fair, but I would have held on to it for the Muck 100%.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I feel like that Muck was a bigger threat, because Sylveon he broke with a decent amount of his team still, while Muck kind of just sat there and killed everything if it was Curse, which it was in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like Nathan played very well with the sets he had. He had a game plan, he efficiently pulled it off. So good on him this game 100%.
And unfortunate to Johnson, you can't always see that level of prep coming, unfortunately, but you know.
Yeah.
I think the scoreline's a bit of a harsh reflection because, you know, Johnson got caught off guard by one set and was like so heavily punished for it, but he didn't help himself by the fact that he then lost Scolipede because he didn't properly calc Metagross's potential investment, but that's just how it be sometimes. Syke, anything to add, or?
No,
I don't really have anything that, you know, wasn't really covered already. You know, Muck, he already had such a hard time breaking, and then, like, the one thing that he had that, you know, really could break it went down, and, you know, it was good to see that focus, you know, on Nathan's side, you know, to, hey, this Rhyperior really needs to go down, and so he brought that kind of lure set for it, which was nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it for me.
Great. Any other final points anybody wants to make, or we will move on to our final game?
That's everything pretty much.
Great. Final game and game of the week, as voted for by the league, is the Tulsa Escaviliers, coached by Lord Zeden, versus me.
I'd
Coach of
expect
the
no
Detroit
less for this
Entei.
being game of the week, honestly,
Well,
because the player caliber already screams game of the week.
oh well, I appreciate that, but games
Like
on
someone
screen,
who's consistently hit playoffs, and then Zeden. Yeah.
well, Zeden, who's made a finals as well. Not gonna lie, like I absolutely shat myself when I saw he was my week one. Like of all the people,
You were just like, the curse is happening.
of all the people that you could have wanted to land in your opening week when you really want to get off to a good start.
You probably wanted me at least.
You don't want the guy who's like odds-on favourite to potentially win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not just playing Zeden, you're playing Zeden with his comfort mons. He's got the Latios, he's got Manaphy, he's got Weavile.
Yeah.
He's got some other creative stuff to play with, like the Torkoal, which I was...
Torkoal into Venusaur, which, by the way, it didn't look like he had much for until I saw the Drodagon, and I was like, oh, right, that's the thing.
Yeah. So, whenever you guys are ready to start the replay, just give me a count in, and then I'll answer any questions you have to the best of my ability about either way.
I'm ready.
Good.
Yep,
Right.
ready.
3, 2, 1, starting. So just tell me when you want to pause and talk about something.
Turn 1 Power was cool.
Yeah, the turn 1 power really frustrated the hell out of me because
I can tell.
anybody that knows or has been around here for a while knows that
Zeden hacks you.
is always a hacks game in favor of Zeden more often than not.
Yeah. Also, as soon as I saw the damage on that, my head went, how does Zeden break this?
Yeah.
Because as soon as I saw the damage, I knew it was Delayed. Which, by the way, is a great set.
Put in a lot of work for me this week.
Yeah, great set.
The power was a bit unfortunate because otherwise, like, Zeden just didn't have anything to break.
If it wasn't power, I might have actually thought this could have been a 6-0 possibly.
Yeah, potentially. I'm just
A
on
6-0
turn
of
now,
just
so-
not him being able to break it.
and just me never having to switch out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But still, very, very good set.
I felt
And
like
then from there, it was just Zeden trying to work around it.
It eventually cost him the Latios as well.
Yeah,
I'm able to get Krooks.
it costed him the Latios switch. He should be happy. At least he was able to do something there to get out of it. out of the field.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have like a great deal I want to say. Like, if people want to know my full opinions, I'm going to do a shameless plug, and you can go check out my channel. Where it will be
Not much else to say other than Zidane kind of just played the game clicking buttons, but he didn't like just click randomly. He was clicking them with intent, obviously.
He was making a lot of like the neutral plays, and being like by turn, 15, he's like 2-0 down.
Yeah, just making neutral plays that hit what in front of him because he knew he was at a back end at this game and couldn't bring it back.
If he'd made more aggressive plays, then maybe he was getting back into the game.
As soon as Latios went down, I saw him and I was like, well, his team is special Blaziken food right now.
Yeah, and that was the big thing. As soon as like I got Latios and Thundurus out of the picture, Blaziken became so much more of a
biggest threat in the world. Which, by the way, people don't bring special Blaziken enough, considering how nice a special attack is.
I like it for its mixed ability.
Yeah, you'd think it wouldn't be, but yeah.
I just like the overall presence I was able to get in the game. I kept pressure up with rocks.
Yeah, the presence who brought this game was very, very, like... It was there. Like, when I saw it had Vacuum Wave, I kind of just went, damn, it really did do so much damage.
The one key credit for Zidane is this choice banded Steelix that was revealed on turn 25. I mean, when I saw this thing, I was like, whoa. Because I was kind of like expecting that Krook was just going to clean up and, make a safe switch to Blaziken before the game ends, but certainly...
Jeez, that actually one-shot. I did not know that was banded. When it one-shot, I kind of went, Jesus, Steelix is strong.
Yeah, a strong boy.
Yo, switching, if he actually was just clicking EQ, was pretty much X.
Not really. Gastro.
Did Gastro actually eat a hit? I'm not too sure if it did.
Pretty sure it does. It's pretty heavily physically defensive invested as well.
Oh right, was it Spadef or physical build?
I mean, it was like mixed. I think it was definitely 100 at least invested, and then max HP.
Right. Okay.
If he was locked into EQ as well, as long as I didn't like sack off Blaziken, that also revenged. But
yeah. You still had the game. It just was pretty much a pretty cool thing to see.
Yeah, it was definitely a more worrisome tech.
Yeah, EQ only does about 43 to 50 if it's fully Spadef or defensive.
I mean, it wasn't fully defensive, so...
That's still a two-shot, but that's banking off of you just going hard into it, which I doubt you did.
Yeah, definitely not, before I figured out what move it was locked into.
Yeah.
But regardless, in that case, Blaziken was just able to come in and click buttons at that point.
Yeah, just at team preview, the matchup kind of seemed in your favor, and you just kind of played your advantage as well. Just didn't, do anything reckless and throw them away, and that's really all you needed to do.
You didn't go for any big plays, you went for the smart ones.
Yeah.
In prep, this team was super frustrating to prep for. Like, as much as
I've seen Zidane's team. Yeah, it is pretty annoying.
I mean, any team with the Mega Latios, as we saw in Blue Division, is, you gotta prep for that pretty hard.
Yeah. And I feel like the main issue with Zidane's team is its Weavile.
You think?
Because Weavile covers a bunch of, holes that you would expect. Because, say against a team like yours, you'd expect something like Jirachi to come in toward the Mega Latios. And then a pursuit from a Weavile kind of deters that and makes it kind of useless.
It was exactly why I didn't bring...
Yeah, it's a really good prep deterrent for Zidane.
But yeah,
that's all I got.
I think overall, very happy with the team was performing.
Yeah,
the way it performed.
At least you broke the curse. Maybe you can break the playoffs curse this time.
That's the aim, boys. That's the aim.
Break the semis and the losing finals.
Just like England's belief, it's hopefully coming home.
Oh God, not that again.
Do not say that because it absolutely will not come home.
Never, ever.
Again.
At this rate.
But yeah, any final comments to make on this game? I don't know. I don't really want to...
outside of this, you played really well. Impressive week 1. Kind of scared to face you from now on, but outside of that, pretty fun game.
should have always been scared to face me.
Nah, I have faith.
We'll find out week 4. Anyway.
Oh god.
Anyway, I think that pretty much covers everything.
That's pretty much everything, yeah.
We wanted to say. Do we want to do a quick rundown of pick'ems?
Okay,
week,
sure.
if we've got time. I've got access to the pick'ems chat, so
nice.
Actually, we'll just do it based on this week's table. Now that the games have completed, I think I am in the lead for pick'ems. Let me just get to the end of this battle.
Yeah, let's open up pick'ems. You're in the lead with Skylar in second place.
So how many points is that overall?
You have 9, she had 8.
Great. I'll make sure to
I'm pretty sure.
take a screenshot. Oh wait, no, because the new ones have also been updated, I think.
Yeah. Let me double check.
But as it stands,
So from week 1,
Reg, you have 11.
yeah,
You're
that's
still in the lead.
week 1 and week 2 for now. Week 1 you
That's
had...
only one. That's only one. That's only one.
Yeah, you had 11 12s out of a potential 14. And then Scala had 10, with ZDH and Matrix having 10 as well.
Great. I'll put the week 1 table up on the screen graphic for everybody at home, just as a quick review thing anyway.
Pick'ems is interesting for week 1. A lot of dumb picks, I'd like to say. For example, I did not expect Loney to get that many picks as much as he did.
Yeah, Lonely went 20-7 over.
I made the mistake of picking Lonely, thinking that Zephyr's Rust I thought would be good for Lonely, but then Lonely came through being Lonely.
And everybody voting for Recon Jack as well over
yeah,
Jay.
Nobody saw the sets or the matchup.
Yeah, it's weird. Right, anyway.
Outside of that, pretty good week.
I think that concludes REDCast for this week. So
yeah,
thank you very much for joining me on this cast, guys. Much appreciated.
Thank
hopefully
you.
It was enjoyable.
Pretty enjoyable, yeah.
Want to say your goodbyes?
Well, I'll see you guys next week, I guess, when you look at my games there.
Yeah, and if you guys are craving more Red content, make sure to check out my power rankings coming out every Sunday. Hopefully, we're gonna see how long that lasts.
Sunday. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
So coming out Sunday. Stop asking me. That's only gonna make them ask more. I know, but I can at least try.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing your full thoughts on the Blue Division in the power rankings coming up.
Yeah. 14th in power rankings confirmed all season.
Are you going to say your goodbyes, Zach?
Don't forget, I'm back for your weekly trash collection next week.
Well, maybe, depending on who's on. All right, and thank you very much from me, guys, to all of our cast members this week, and to you guys at home for watching. This is your host, Regenix, signing off.